Start in Shavasana. Begin to breathe deeply. Activate Ujjayi breathing by slightly constricting the back of the throat and breathing in and out of your nose, making it sound like Darth Vader. The theme for today's class is to challenge yourself. There are a lot of challenging poses in today's class. If you are beginner or just starting to venture into the intermediate side of yoga, go ahead and set an intention for today's class. Flutter your eyes open, activate your core, and come up to a staff pose. So you're engaging the core here, using it to keep a 90-degree bend at your hips. Bring your heels in and sit in a comfortable, easy seat. Rest your hands on your knees. And now take an easy twist to the left. So your left hand comes back behind you and your right hand rests on your left knee. Just a nice gentle twist. Your gaze is to the left, maybe even behind, past your left shoulder. We're going to challenge ourselves today, but we're going to start gentle. Come back to center. And then transition to the right. So now your right hand comes back, left hand on right knee. Come back to center. You can untuck your legs, have the bottoms of your feet down on the mat, knees up, and we're going to inhale and exhale to seated cat-cows. So as you inhale, you come forward, your knees spread open, your gaze is up, your chest is open, and as you exhale, you curl your back behind you, you straighten your arms, and you tuck your chin. So inhale forward and exhale back, awakening the spine in these seated cat-cows to your own breath. Come to a neutral spine, and then extend your legs out in front of you. We're going to come to a seated forward fold. So you want to try to get the bottoms of your legs to touch the mat, flex your toes towards you, and as you inhale, you lengthen your spine, and as you exhale, you bend forward at the hips with a flat back, and your hands reach wherever they can. Maybe it's the shins or your toes, or if you're really flexible or have long limbs, maybe you can reach past your toes and you need a yoga block to help increase the hamstring stretch here. We hold this pose for a while because these types of stretches require lots of two things: time and oxygen. We can even say three things, that third thing being your mind. So really bring your mind into the hamstrings as you reach and breathe and stretch. Come back up. Bring your arms behind you, fingers facing the same direction as your toes, and lift up into reverse table. Come back down. Come to an easy seat pose. Now lift back up into reverse table. Lower back down. Come to an easy seat and then roll over your knees, coming to a tabletop position. And now from here, lower down onto your forearms and come up to dolphin pose. So dolphin pose is very similar to downward facing dog, though you are on your forearms. And if you'd like, you can kick your legs back behind you, one after another, to the beat of a song or to the beat of your heart or to your breath. Slowly lower down. Kick your heels back to a plank pose. So your shoulders are directly over the wrists. Your heels are fighting back behind you, and you're twisting your tailbone back and down, activating your core. Slowly lower down, chaturanga, elbows at your sides, and then inhale to a back bend. It could be as gentle as mini cobra, or you can go for up dog. And then roll over your toes to downward facing dog. Go ahead and pedal out this first dog, taking whatever movements feel good as your body stretches into the pose. On an exhale, bring your feet to your hands, and then inhale to a halfway lift. Exhale to a forward fold. Inhale, your arms sweep up overhead with a flat back. Gaze past your fingertips to the sky. Exhale, bring your hands to prayer at heart center. Inhale your arms up. Exhale with a flat back down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands and step or hop back to a plank and lower down chaturanga. Inhale to your back bend, and then exhale over the toes to downward facing dog. On your next exhale, bring your feet to your hands and then come up halfway. Lower down, forward fold. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, prayer. Inhale, up. Exhale, bring your toes together. Come back into chair pose. Make sure the weight is mostly in your heels. You can lift all 10 toes. Twist your tailbone back and down behind you. Your arms are up, but your shoulders are away from your ears. Sink lower into your chair. Don't hold your breath here. Bring your hands to prayer and forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to plank and chaturanga down. Inhaling to your back bend. And exhaling over the toes to downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg up behind you. Exhale it through to your hands. Spin up to warrior one. So your back foot is at a 45-degree angle on the mat. There's a 90-degree bend in your front knee. Your knee is over your ankle. And your hips are both twisting forward towards the top of the mat. On an exhale, bring your hands down to the mat, framing your front foot, and then kick that front foot back to downward dog. On your next exhale, bring your feet to your hands and then come up halfway. Lower down, forward fold. Inhale, arms up overhead. Bring your hands to prayer at heart center. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold down with a flat back. Halfway lift. Plank and chaturanga down. Back bend up. Exhale over toes, down dog. On an inhale, left leg comes up behind you and then swing it through. Pop up to warrior one on the other side. Breathing here. We had a request in class to spin open to warrior two before bringing our arms down to the mat. So if you'd like, you can do that and meet me in down dog and begin to breathe. Exhale your feet to your hands, come up halfway. Exhale, fold. Arms sweep up overhead. Prayer at heart center. Inhale, arms up. Heel toe your feet together, come into chair pose. Bring your hands to prayer and then twist to the right. So your left elbow hooks past your right knee. Stare back at your knees and make sure that they are parallel, so one shouldn't be tracking forward. And then bring your gaze back to the right, past your right shoulder to the sky. You can take a modification here by opening your arms up and using your elbow against your knee to twist more to the right. Come back to center, forward fold, halfway lift, plank and chaturanga down, up dog, down dog. Breathe here, catch your breath. Exhale your feet to your hands and come to a halfway lift, forward fold, arms sweep up overhead, prayer at heart center, arms up overhead, heel toe your feet together, chair pose, twisting to the left. Make whatever corrections you need. And then extend your arms out, a deeper expression of the pose, a deeper twist. Bring your arms back forward into classic chair, and then bring your arms down to the mat, forward fold, halfway lift, plank, chaturanga down, back bend, downward facing dog. From here, slowly walk your feet towards your hands and bring your feet to the wider edges of the mat, and then sink your hips down, hands come to prayer. You're in yogic squat. So your chest is open here, your gaze is forward, shoulders are away from the ears, and you're using your arms against your inner thighs to open up the hips. You can even rock gently left to right. From here, bring your hands down to the mat and come to crow pose. From crow pose, you can kick back into a plank and a chaturanga down, and then an up dog. And then from there, roll over your toes to downward facing dog. Resting here in dog after crow, connecting with the breath. Exhale your feet to your hands, halfway lift, forward fold. Inhale, arms up overhead, prayer at heart center. Inhale, arms up. Exhale down, halfway lift, plank and chaturanga down, Inhaling to your back bend and exhaling over the toes, downward facing dog. Lift your right leg behind you and on an exhale, kick it through to meet your hands. Spin up to a warrior two. Connect with the pose and then straighten your front knee. We're setting up for triangle pose. So you can hike your back leg forward if you need to, and then bring your right arm down to the shin, a block, or the mat. Left arm up to the sky. You can have a micro bend in that front knee. And you're bringing your right arm towards the ground to stretch the hamstring on the right leg, while simultaneously lifting your left arm up to the sky, which opens your chest and your shoulder. Your gaze is past your left fingertips to the sky. Come back up to warrior two, rebending into that front knee, and then windmill your hands down to the mat, coming back to downward facing dog. Exhale, feet to hands, come up halfway lift. Exhale down, forward fold. Inhaling, arms up overhead, prayer at heart center. Inhale, arms back up. Exhale, forward fold. Come up halfway lift. Exhale, plank, chaturanga. Back bend. Downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg up. Exhale, kick it through. Coming up into warrior two on the other side. And transition into triangle pose. So you unbend that front knee. Bring your left arm down. Right arm up to the sky. Breathing into the stretch. Come back up, rebend into that front knee, warrior two. Windmill your hands down to the mat, downward facing dog. On an exhale, bring your feet to the hands, then inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, arms up overhead, gaze past your fingertips. Exhale, prayer at heart center, gaze is now forward. Inhale, arms up, head goes up. Exhale, down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, down, plank, chaturanga. Inhaling to your back bend. And exhaling over the toes to downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg up behind you. Exhale, kick it through to your hands. Come up to a standing pose. And now you want to face the wide edge of your mat. So your feet are parallel. You're facing the wide edge of the mat. We're going to come into a wide leg forward fold with a shoulder stretch. So you bring your Palms together behind you, interlace your fingers, shoulder blades come back, spine is straight and tall, and exhale using your core forward with a flat back. And as you do that, bring your fist up towards the sky, stretching out the shoulders. If tripod headstand is in your practice, you can transition to tripod headstand. Slowly transition out of tripod headstand, lifting back up into a standing pose. Bring your front toes back towards the front of the mat and then step your back foot up to meet it. Inhale your arms up overhead. Exhale, prayer. Inhale, arms back up, and then swan dive forward with a flat back. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, chaturanga. Don't lower down, just bring your knees down to the mat. We are going to come to puppy pose. So puppy pose is similar to child's pose, except that there's a 90-degree bend at the knee so that your thigh is perpendicular with the ground. And then you bring your arms forward, same as in child's pose, and you slowly lower, stretching the shoulders, bringing your forehead down to the mat. Breathe here in puppy pose. From here, slowly lower down onto your stomach and rest your forehead on your forearm or rest on one cheek or your chin, whatever is most comfortable for you to rest on your stomach. If you're on one cheek, switch sides. Bring your gaze down to the mat, and then we're going to come into bow pose. So bring your heels towards your seat, magnetize your knees together, reach back behind you, and lift up. So as you breathe, you kind of rock back, and as you exhale, kick with your feet a little more against your hands. Really tensing every muscle in your body here. Breathe through this pose. Keep breathing. Think back to the intention you set. Lower down to the mat. Come to child's pose. Breathe here in child's pose. Rock your hips left and right. So you're really shifting your weight to the left and then to the right. Feeling how that change gets you deeper into the pose on each side. Your hands can be resting here, elbows on the mat, or you can have a nice active child's pose, pushing against your palms. From here, lift up out of child's pose and come back onto your stomach. And then raise your legs and arms back behind you, palms facing up, locust pose. Breathing here as you grind your hips towards the ground. Now slowly lower down, resting on the mat. If you're on one cheek, you can switch cheeks. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders, tuck your toes, and push up into a plank pose. Holding plank. Slowly lower down, chaturanga, elbows at your sides, and then pop back up. Slowly lower down, then come back up, that's push-up 2. Slowly lower down, up 3. Slowly lower down, pop up, that's 4. Or maybe 5. Now come to a child's pose. Come out of child's pose into a plank position. Slowly lower down and come back up. Slowly lower down, pop up 2. Lower down, pop up 3. Lower down, pop up 4. Lower down, pop up 6. 5. I cannot count today. Whichever one that is, come back into a child's pose, resting. Slowly come out of child's pose back up into a table position. Bring your heels to the side and lower onto your seats. We're going to come to a seated position, so make sure your seat bones are really nice and dug into the floor or the mat beneath you. You're going to grab your big toes with 2 fingers and your thumb wrapping around, and then lift your feet up to the corners of the room. Big toe pose. If you fall back, don't worry about it. Just come right back to the seated position. You might be like me and you get a better stretch if you do one leg out at a time, so that is fine. You can stretch one leg out, bring it back to center, stretch the other one out, and lower that back down. So bring both legs back down. We're going to rest on our back. And set up for bridge or wheel. So whichever one is in your practice, come into bridge or wheel. Slowly and safely lower out of the pose back down to the mat. Bring your feet up, coming into happy baby pose. So the bottoms of the feet towards the sky, grab the outer edges, and rock left and right gently, massaging the sacrum, pulling the knee in towards each armpit as you rock, opening up the hip. You can slowly lower your legs down to the mat and take a final resting pose. So remember, the theme today is to challenge yourself. So maybe you're not going into Shavasana or corpse pose. Maybe you want to do Supta Baddha Konasana, where you have the bottoms of your feet touching and your knees splay out to the sides. Arms are resting at your sides with the palms up. Or maybe you want to take child's pose and get more of a stretch while you relax every muscle in your body in this final resting pose. So choose your pose and come into it. If you are in Supta Baddha Konasana, use your hands to bring your knees together and then drop your feet down to the mat in Shavasana or corpse pose. If you're in child's pose, you can stay there if you'd like, or come back into corpse pose. We'll take a few more breaths, and I have a quote here. I have realized it is during the times I am far outside my element that I experience myself the most, that I see and feel who I really am the most. I think that's what a comet is like, you see. A comet is born in the outer realms of the universe. But it's only when it ventures too close to our sun or to other stars that it releases the blazing tail behind it and shoots brazen through the heavens. And meteors become sucked into our atmosphere before they burst like firecrackers and realize they're shooting stars. That's why I enjoy taking myself out of my element, out of my own comfort zone, and hurling myself out into the unknown. Because it's during those scary moments, those unsure steps taken, that I am able to see that I'm like a comet hitting a new atmosphere. Suddenly, I illuminate magnificently, and fire dusts begin to fall off of me. I discover a smile I didn't know I had. I uncover a feeling that I didn't know existed in me. I see myself. I'm a shooting star, a meteor shower, but I'm not going to die out. I guess I'm more like a comet then. I'm just going to keep on coming back. See Joy Bell C. Begin to bring some slight physical movements back into your body. Take some wider movements. Lift your arms up overhead, stretching from fingertips to toes. Bring your knees to your chest and rock back and forth, squeezing gently, massaging the spine. Bring your knees to the right. In fetal position, you can rest your right cheek on your right bicep. Use your left hand to push up with your eyes closed into a comfortable seated position. Thank yourself for coming to the mat today and being kind to your mind and your body. The light in me shines in the light in you. Namaste.